Hello children, I'm your teacher Ghazala Kamran and this is English language lesson about singular, plural and genders. Okay, you have been studying about singular plural since class 3, class 2, so it's nothing new for you. The topic is very easy. We're going to revise through it, we're going to breeze through it. So let's see first what singular and plural are. As you already know, the singular noun denotes one and the plural noun denotes more than one. So what we are going to study today is how we can make plural from singulars. Okay, the easiest way of making plurals from singulars is by adding s. In general, the plural of a noun is formed by adding s to the noun. We all know that. So let's look at some examples. Car, by adding s, it becomes cars. House becomes houses. Book, books. Bird, birds. Pencil, pencils. So this is very easy. Let's move on to the next point to remember. When we want to make plurals from singular nouns, what we have to do? We can add es at the end of a noun to make it plural. But when do we add es? When the noun ends in s, sh, ch, x or z. We add es to the noun. Here are the examples. Kiss, by adding es becomes kisses. Wish, wishes. Match, matches. Fox, foxes. And quiz becomes quizzes. Here we see at the end of the word quiz we have the letter z. So with words that end in z, sometimes we add an extra z to the plural form of the word, such as with the plural of the quizzes here. Okay, now when we have the word box, here's an exception. I have a box in my bedroom. When we make plural of box, we add es. I have 3 boxes in my bedroom, just like we have done with fox. So this also you have studied before in previous classes, so nothing new here. Let's move on quickly to the third point to remember. By changing y, we make 2 changes when we have y at the end of a singular noun. Sometimes we add s, like here, and sometimes we remove the y and put ies in its place. So when do we make which change? When the noun ends in a vowel plus y, we add s to the noun. Like here, at the end of each word, the letter y is present, but before the y, we have an o, an a, an e, and a u. O, A, E, U, they are vowel letters. So whenever the last letter Y is preceded by a vowel, like here, we add S to the word to make it a plural. So boy, boys. Holiday, holidays. Key, keys. And guy, guys. Okay. When the noun ends in a consonant plus y, we remove y and add ies to the noun. Like in these examples here. In all of these nouns, the last letter is y, but before the y, we have consonant letters. Like T here, D, R, N, and T. So whenever at the end of the noun we have a consonant plus y, like ty, dy, ry here, we remove the y and replace it with ies. So party will become parties, lady, ladies, story, stories, nanny, nannies, city, cities. Now, I'm sure you have studied about these changes before in classes, and this was also nothing new, and we are just doing a revision of all the things you have learned in previous classes. I think as we are going through, you will be reminded of what you have learned previously, and you will understand it even better than before. So the next point to remember is by changing F or FE. If the noun ends in F or FE, we remove the F or FE and we replace it with VES. Okay, here we have some examples. Life, leaf, thief, and wife. So here we are removing FE or F, whichever is present at the end, and we are replacing it with VES. Life, lives, leaf, leaves, thief, thieves, and wife will become wives. There are some exceptions to remember, and these are roof. Roof will become roofs. We will add an S at the end. Cliff, cliffs. Chief, chiefs. Belief, beliefs. Chef, chefs. Okay, let's move on to the next point now. The next point is by adding ES when. We have already studied that we add ES at the end of some nouns to make them plural. Here again, we are repeating this. Why? If the noun ends in a consonant plus O, we normally add ES to the noun. Like here in all of these examples, the noun is ending with an O, but before the noun there is a consonant, like tomato, potato, echo, hero. So what we have done here is we have added ES at the end, making tomato, tomatoes, potato, potatoes, echo, echoes, and hero, heroes. Now there are some exceptions, like piano, which becomes pianos by adding S only, halo, halos, and photo, photos. These exceptions are for words which are not of which are originated from other languages, like Latin or Spanish maybe. So we are not going to go into the detail of that. We're just going to remember that some words are exceptions and they are made plurals even though they have an consonant plus O at the end, but we add only S to make them a plural. Okay, here is a note. Volcano has two correct forms of plural. Both volcanoes and volcanoes with ES are accepted. So this is also an exception and we should keep it in mind. Moving on to the next point now. Okay, now we come to some irregular plurals. Irregular plurals or irregular nouns are those which do not follow any rules. We have discussed some rules before. From number 1 to 5 we have discussed some rules, and all the nouns which follow these rules are regular nouns, or we can say regular plurals. But the ones we are about to study now, they are irregular because they do not follow those rules. So starting with the irregular rules, let's read. There are a number of nouns that do not follow these rules. They are irregular and you need to learn them individually because they don't normally have an S on the end. So here are some examples. Let's look at them. Man, men, woman, women, child, children, foot, feet, tooth, teeth, goose, geese, mouse, mice. So Another example here is given. Child will become children. There is a child in the park. There are many children in the park. So we will be looking at irregular plurals in detail now. Okay. There are some singular and plural which are the same. The same noun is used as singular and as plural both, like fish and fish, sheep, sheep, deer, deer, moose, moose, aircraft, aircraft. Now you must be wondering why fish is not fishes with es. So we use fish as a plural, as a collective noun. But most of the time we use fishes also, 3 fishes, 4 fishes. When it's a countable noun, used as a countable, we use numbers with it. But sometimes, like we are using it as a group, then we use only fish. So here are some points to remember. I can see a sheep in the field and I can see 10 sheep in the field. Here the word sheep is used both as singular and plural. Sometimes you will hear the word fishes, especially in songs, though it is grammatically incorrect, but we do use it sometimes. So do not worry. You remember what you have learned and you try to use it as much as you can whenever you have to, okay? So let's move on to the next topic now. Okay, more about adding es. So when do we add es? If the noun ends in is, we change it to es. Especially we do this with words which have a Greek root. These words are taken from the language Greek and they have been so used in English that we think that they are English words now, like analysis, analysis, basis, basis, crisis, crisis. So normally we cannot find out if the word has a Greek origin or a Latin origin or a French origin. So what we can do is we just have to remember these words individually, because these are all irregular plurals and they do not follow any rules. So we cannot learn them by remembering any rules. We just have to learn them as they are. So the next thing, by changing us. If the noun ends in us, we change it to I. Words that end in us usually have a Latin root. So like I said before, we don't have to remember which word comes from which language. We just have to remember them. We just have to try to improve our vocabulary and remember as much as we can and use them whatever we have learned, so it gets strengthened in our memory. So some examples are cactus, cacti, fungus, fungi, stimulus, stimuli, syllabus, syllabi. Okay, there are some exceptions because these are irregular plurals after all. They do not follow any rules. So the exception is octopus and octopuses, because it is from Greek and not Latin, and walrus and walruses. So let's come to the next point. By changing vowels, we have already seen this in the slide about irregular plurals, so it's repeated here again. Like foot changes into feet, we have changed the vowels. Tooth changes to teeth, man changes to men, women changes to women. Okay, now some exceptions here. Ox changes to oxen, mongoose does not change to monkeys but changes to mongooses, child changes to children, and specimen changes to specimens. So next we have the same form singular and plurals, like we had read about them earlier also. Some nouns have the same singular and plural forms. Deer, deer, poultry, poultry, sheep, sheep, hare, hare, and agenda, agenda. So we have studied about so many singulars and plurals. Let's see what you remember out of these. Here's a little practice. The singular words are given and you have to think of the plural. So let's do this exercise. As I say out the singular words, think of their plurals and then we will check the answers. Wolf, potato, work, woman, sofa, fox, inch, cherry, pencil, horse, story, knife, spy, office, chief, deer, passerby, chimney, princess, mother-in-law. Okay, shall we look at the answers now? Okay, wolf, the last letter is F, changes to VES, wolves. Potato, potatoes. Work, works. Woman, women. Sofa, sofas. Fox, foxes. Inch, inches. Cherry, cherries. Pencil, pencils. Horse, horses. Story, stories. Knife, knives. Spy, spies. Office, offices. Chief, chiefs. Deer, deer. Passerby, passers-by. Chimney, chimneys. Princess, princesses. Mother-in-law, mothers-in-law. Okay. So this was all about singular and plurals. I hope we have done a good revision of whatever you had learned before, and I hope that what new things you have learned will stay with you. So now it's time to move on to our next topic. This is also one which you have studied in previous classes. You have been studying them from primary and onward, so it's not very difficult for you. So we're going to quickly breeze through this one also. So the topic is genders. So there are 4 genders of noun. So what are those 4 genders? These 4 genders are masculine, feminine, common, and neuter. So let's see what these are. You already know masculine nouns. These refer to words for a male figure or male member of a species. For example, man, boy, actor, horse, etc. Feminine nouns. This also you are familiar with. This refers to female figures or female members of a species. For example, woman, girl, actress, mayor, etc. Common nouns or common gender. This refers to members of a species and don't specify the gender. A species which we do not need to specify the gender of. We are using a common noun for them. For example, parent, friend, client, student, etc. And then the third form of gender or third type of gender is the neuter nouns or neuter gender. It refers to things that have no gender. For example, rock, table, pencil, etc. So neuter nouns are usually used for things. So let's move on and let's see how we can make feminine gender from masculine gender. There are 3 ways for making a feminine noun from a masculine noun. The first way is to add ESS to the masculine noun. For example, baron, by adding ESS becomes baroness, host, hostess, prince, princess. So this is very easy. You have been learning about masculine and feminine genders through lower classes, and I'm sure you must have read these and you have learned these nouns in previous classes. So let's move on to the next way of making a feminine gender from a masculine gender. That is, a slight change in the form is sometimes used to form the feminine gender. For example, God, goddess, and emperor, empress. Okay, so not only have we added ESS at the end, but we have also made a slight change. Here the change was that the last word letter D is doubled, and here in emperor we have removed OR and instead we have added ESS to it. So sometimes small changes in the spelling is needed. Now the third and last way, often a completely different word is used. So you just have to learn the word by itself. For example, father, mother, horse, mare, stag, hind, hero, heroine. Okay, let's recap a little of the feminine and masculine genders. What would be the feminine of priest, cock, master, tiger, husband, heir, wizard, lad, sir, bridegroom, king? Priest will become priestess by adding ESS. Cock, the feminine is a completely different word, hen. Master, mastress, mistress. Tiger, tigress. Husband, wife. Heir, heiress. Wizard, witch. Lad, lass. Sir, madam. Bridegroom, bride. King, queen. Mr., Mrs. So, a little bit more about the formation of feminine gender. The feminine form of compound noun are formed by changing certain words, like landlord, landlady, grandfather, grandmother, policeman, policewoman, cock sparrow, hen sparrow. Okay, now we have another exercise. Let's strengthen some feminine and masculine genders. Okay, we have to change the gender of these. Sportsman, businessman, girlfriend, son-in-law, and grandson. So these are not difficult. Sportsmen would become sportswomen, businessmen, businesswomen, girlfriend, boyfriend, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandson, granddaughter. So these are just common words which we are always using as we are talking, we are writing something. So I think this has been a revision for you, and this has strengthened your concept about feminine and masculine genders, and you have learned about common and neuter genders as well, and I hope this will stay with you. So it's time for homework. So our exercise 1 is about singular and plural. Change the following sentences into the plural form. One has been done as an example. There is a new girl in our class. So first you have to see all the nouns or verbs and you have to change them accordingly into plurals. So is changed to are, girl is changed to girls, and class is changed to classes. So in the same way the sentence is given and brackets are given underneath. Whichever words are missing, you have to change them accordingly. The nouns and the verbs both. So there's a person in Mr. Malik's office. There dash dash in Mr. Malik's office. So the first blank here is for the verb is, the second blank is for the noun person, and the last blank is for the noun office. So in the same way you have to do the rest of the exercise too. Okay, exercise 2 is about genders. You have to change the gender of the following. Note that some words may remain the same. So there are columns given for masculine and feminine. The masculine genders are given and you have to change into feminine genders. So this is also an easy exercise. So I hope that you will do your homework as soon as possible. This time do your homework in your English language copies. Keep them safe with you. Do your homework. When you will start school, you bring your copies. They will be checked and marks will be given on your copies then. So thank you for your attention. Stay home, stay safe. Bye bye.